Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm coming back to you with another video. I know I've been kind of slacking with the uploads lately, but kind of been partying it up a little too much the past few weeks, but I'm getting back on the video grind here. So, without further ado, I'm going to get into today's story. And this is a good one, so definitely watch till the end. This is the story about the time I crashed a moped. Now, this takes place back in the summer of 2024, when I was on vacation. Me and my family went on a cruise to Hawaii, and there were a bunch of people who we went with, but for the sake of the story, there's just 3 other people involved besides myself, obviously. We have my cousin, my cousin's girlfriend, and this guy who I work with, a friend who went on the trip with us. So this happened on the later part of our trip, a few days in, and we were stopped specifically on the island of Kauai, which, for those of you who don't know, is kind of one of the smaller islands, not as many people there. But the guy who I worked with, who was with us, we'll call him Ken. He had the idea when we were stopped in Kauai to rent mopeds for the day, just so we can drive around, explore the island. And I thought that was a great idea. And me, my cousin, and his girlfriend were also on board with this. So Ken wanted to find a place, so he was doing some research, and the main moped rental place, from what I remember, was all booked out for that day. So, eventually he finds this other place, which is like, from the looks of it at the time, it was smaller, but, either way, we were down to do our things with the mopeds, so we were just going to go ahead and do it. So early that morning, as we're getting off the boat, we organize to get to the moped place. So Ken is kind of coordinating all this, and me, my cousin, and his girlfriend are just kind of following. And the guy just says, "Yeah, I'll pick you up." So we're like, "Oh, okay, cool. We'll just meet you outside the port place." And, we walk out, and in the dock area, you're not allowed to, drive up close to the boat. It's like a restricted area. So we're walking out kind of, as far as we can, and all of a sudden the dude pulls up and he's just shouting, "Hey, quick, get in." So we're like, "Oh, okay, well, that was fast." And then we all pile in his car. I think I remember he was driving a Mini Cooper, and there were 4 of us, plus him, so we kind of had to all squeeze in there. And as soon as this dude stops, one of the port workers sees him, and he starts shouting, "Hey, you can't stop here," causing a whole scene. So already we're like, "Okay, dude, you could have picked us up, a little further out, it's fine." But he's like, "No, it's fine. I deal with this all the time." And he's saying to the worker, "Oh no, we're just leaving. It's fine." Meanwhile, the port worker is pissed off, really pissed off. But we were like, "Okay, whatever. That was weird, but it's fine." We start driving away, and the dude, he's talking, and I can't remember specifically what he was saying on the ride there, but something about him seemed off, a little bit, and we could all tell but none of us were saying anything, obviously, when we were crammed in there with him. But we're driving away. It's only a couple minute drive, the place was, from the port. And we just pull up to this, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's like an industrial kind of mechanic machine shop type place, and we're like, oh, this is kind of weird, like not what we were expecting. But we pull in this dude's garage, essentially what it was, and we get out, and we see he's got all the mopeds there, like, just lined up, kind of a small scale operation going on. But we get out, and he starts going over, like, paperwork, waivers, all that kind of stuff. And he says, yeah, I just need to snap a picture of your driver's license and credit card. And we're like, oh, I mean, that's kind of weird. I mean, do you really, I understand the driver's license, but why do you need the credit card? And he was just like, oh, it's just, proof of payment. People, you understand from my perspective, like, people, sometimes don't pull through with payments, so I gotta, keep proof of that. So we're like, I don't know about this, but eventually, I think just myself and Ken left our info with him because he needed it from, like, the both of us, I guess. And we all had to give him our driver's license. But at this point, we're, like, a little sketched out. Like, this is, like, a weird operation going on. This dude's, like, just renting, mopeds probably as a side hustle. Like, he's probably does something else, but he just rents these mopeds on the side. And the way he was acting too, he was just acting off, like he stepped away for a second, and my cousin's girlfriend is like, this dude's definitely tweaking off of something. And we were like, we definitely agreed that he was probably on something. But we get all our info sorted, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna grab the mopeds for you. So we're like, sweet. So we're waiting out there, he's bringing them out, and once he gets them out, he's asking us, okay, who have you all driven a two-wheeled vehicle before? And only Ken and my cousin had. Me and my cousin's girlfriend, we'd never driven these before. We were just like, oh, we'll figure it out. But he's given us, like, the tutorial, like, not very well, in my opinion, as you'll see in a minute, but he's telling us, okay, this is how you brake, this is the throttle, this is, what you do, never do such and such. And then he's like, okay, now I'm just gonna need you all to hop on each of your 4 mopeds and just drive around the parking lot for a minute, just so I can see that you're comfortable, which, makes sense. You want to make sure that we're good to go out and we're not going to, like, wreck his mopeds or hurt ourselves, obviously more important. And mind you, like, we didn't have, like, helmets or anything, which in hindsight, you always, general advice, you definitely need to wear a helmet. Even if it's legal not to, you definitely need to wear a helmet when you're riding a motorcycle or moped or whatever it is. Any kind of vehicle like that. But we all hop on, and we're all in a line, because to paint the picture, this parking lot was like, it was like a road. It was like narrow. There were cars on each side, and we were just supposed to go, down and back. So I'm bringing up the rear. I'm in the back behind everybody. And the dude is standing off to the side. And we all start going. And I'm in the back, and, I'm getting going. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of weird, but I'm okay. And then, I'm picking up too much speed, so I'm like trying to brake. But for those of you who don't know, a lot of mopeds, they're set up like, you have the throttle on the handle, but then the brake, it's like a bike brake is on the same handle. So you need to let go of the throttle when you are trying to hit the brake. And I did not do that. So I'm like, still have the throttle turned, and I'm, it's obviously not going to stop if you have it that way. And I'm trying to hit the brake, and then, I lose control, and no joke, I drive straight into the moped renter guy. And he spots me last second. He turns around, and he holds his I'm trying to do a demonstration here, but I'm pulling my mic away from my face. But he's holds his hands out and grabs the handlebars and tries to stop me, but I hit him pretty hard. I wasn't going super fast, but still enough to do damage. And I hit him. I straight up hit him. He didn't get hurt or even get knocked down or anything, but I was just oh fuck, I messed up here. And I'm just in shock at this point. And I just say oh my god, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Are you okay? And the dude is just he's not even saying words, which was surprising to me because he was talking so much. He was just being silent for a second. Then he just starts explaining to me what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? And I'm just I feel so bad. I'm dude, I didn't mean to, my bad. But then he's explaining to me what I did, because I guess it's a common problem for beginners, what I explained to you with, not letting go of the throttle when you're trying to brake. But, I'm just, there, he's sitting, hands on the handlebars, and I'm still sitting on the moped. And then, not even a minute after that happened, my cousin's girlfriend, she, is riding hers. She's right in front of me, and she turns around, and then she crashes. She also crashes. I didn't witness it because I just she was behind me at that point, so I just heard the noise, so I turned around quick. But she, I think from what I remember, I think hit a car, a parked car, and the mirror on the moped actually broke. So she broke the moped that she was driving, and she also scraped herself up pretty good on her legs from what I remember. So at this point, I'm not sure what everybody else was thinking, but in my head, I'm just nah, this whole thing's fucked. I'm not really trying to do this anymore. But, when my cousin's girlfriend crashes, I, just get off my moped and like, park it. And I, walk over to the spot, and my cousin and Ken had come back, and they're like seeing everything. They're like, "Oh my God, are you guys okay? Like, what's going on?" And, we're just standing off to the side. The guy gets like some band-aids and stuff for my cousin's girlfriend because their legs were all cut up. And at this point, me and her are like, I don't really want to ride these anymore. I mean, for obvious reasons. Like, I wasn't, first of all, like, things were sketchy with the guy at first, and then we like wreck his shit, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I'd rather just walk around the island. I'd rather just not use the mopeds. And me and my cousin's girlfriend and my cousin decide not to. Like, my cousin was fine. Like, he didn't have any issues. Like, he didn't wreck. He felt comfortable. But, he didn't want to leave his girlfriend, without, since she wasn't riding, because these were only one-seater mopeds. You couldn't have two people on these. But Ken says, yeah, I'm still gonna rent this and spend the day with it. And we're like, all right, that's cool. Like, you can just, you can explore, do your thing. Like, we'll meet back up with you. But we're just gonna have the guy drop us off at the little town area outside the port. So that's exactly what we did. We said, yeah, sorry about your stuff, man. Like, we eventually worked it out with him. Like, I think she paid him for the broken mirror. It was only like $30. It was something cheap like that from what I remember. So, they got that taken care of, and it was all good. And the guy dropped us off, and on the car ride to the little town, he was like, yeah, it's, don't feel bad about it. Like, eventually you're gonna be pros at riding these, and you're just gonna go to Bali or something and just have a blast driving around there with the moped. And we're like, all right, cool, dude, got it. But yeah, that's the story of how I crashed a moped. And this story has a part 2, which I'm gonna be posting next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you're still watching to the end on this longer video, I appreciate that. And with that, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.